Consider this. On a total person, burnout usually doesn't show up like a lightning strike. It shows up more like a candle that's been fighting the wind for a long, long time. Still lit, still going, but getting smaller without you noticing. And yeah, leaders burn out too. Not because they're weak or careless, but because being the person others rely on has a cost. You can carry that cost for a while and still look steady doing it. You can even convince yourself you're fine because nothing has collapsed yet. That's what makes this topic tricky. From the outside, you can still look solid. You still show up. You still handle what needs handling. But inside, something starts thinning out. Your patience, your focus, your sense of meaning, even your ability to feel present in your own life. And you can't always point to the moment it started. It just slowly becomes normal. Have you ever had that feeling? Like you're still moving, but the fire's going out? Because burnout doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't always come with a big crash. It can start as a quiet shift inside of you. You're less patient than you used to be. You're more easily annoyed. You feel more numb. And you keep telling yourself it's just a phase. You start living like your life always has one step behind, even on days when nothing bad happens. And that pressure does something to you. You might not even call it stress anymore. You might just call it life. But your body knows the difference. And I want you to say something here that matters. Especially if you're a leader, burning out isn't only about being tired. It's what happens when your inside life starts pulling away from your outside life. You can still function, still get things done, still be the reliable one. And yet, you feel less like yourself as the weeks go by. That gap between the version of you people see and the version of you actually feel, that gap is where burnout grows. So let me put a clean mirror in front of you. Where are you still functioning, but not really there?
Burnout does not hit like lightning. It fades like a candle in the wind. Still lit, still moving, still showing up, but thinner under the skin. From the outside, I look steady. Nothing has collapsed yet, but inside I feel less present, and I cannot name when it began. Do not rename the warning light. Do not call it today.
But I'm not denying real pressure. I'm not denying bills, responsibility, people depending on you. I'm asking a different question. When did your life become a place where you never get to calm down? Because that's the candle in the storm moment. It's not just one gust. It's the fact that the wind never stops. Now, I want to bring this to Brené Brown for a second. She's a researcher and speaker who spent years studying things most of us feel but don't talk about as much: vulnerability, courage, shame, and empathy. Basically, what happens inside of you when you're trying to be strong and you're scared to look weak. And one thing she talks about that fits burnout perfectly is the stories we run under pressure. The quiet story that plays in the background. One of the loudest is, I should be able to handle this. You might not ever say it out loud, but you live it. You hold back what you're carrying to avoid the conversations. You keep it moving. You act like you're good because you don't want to look like you're slipping. And the more you hide it, the more alone it gets. Not socially, but inside of you. You can be surrounded by people and still feel like you're carrying the real weight alone. And once that becomes normal to you, burnout gets quiet. That's what happened to me. I will never forget my last days at that job. I had already made the decision to leave. But when my boss tried to talk me into staying, tried to paint this picture of a future plan where I'd be part of it, I felt something shut off inside of me. It wasn't anger or panic. It was just this flat, empty knowing that I didn't have it in me anymore. And that moment taught me something I didn't want to admit. Sometimes your body keeps arguing long after your body already knows. I couldn't even walk back through that doorway. I didn't have a company at the time anymore. I had to give it up. So my manager drove me home. And it wasn't, this silent movie scene. It was just a very awkward moment. We were alone, so we tried to chat a bit, keep it normal. He didn't want to see me go, and I didn't want to make it weird either. So I stayed calm on the outside. But deep down, I was itching to get home because something in me was building. I could feel it. I didn't have words for it at the time, but felt like I was either about to release or implode. Like my system was right at the edge of something. And that drive felt like forever. Not because the road was long, because I could feel something in me getting closer and closer to breaking open. So I'm sitting there, trying to keep the conversation going, trying to act normal, while my body is basically saying, get me the hell out of here. When I got home, my wife was in a meeting, kissed her on the forehead, stepped outside, and lay down on my couch swing. And at that moment, it all came out right away. There wasn't a waiting period. It wasn't a slow build. The second I was alone, my body just let go. Tears starting, and they didn't stop. My chest was tight. My thoughts were everywhere. I remember being confused in a moment because I've never seen myself like this before. It was very uncomfortable, like something in me had held down for so long that once the door opened, everything rushed out. And that's the part people don't get unless they lived it. It wasn't a choice, it was a release. I laid there for 2 hours and it just kept coming. Not little waves, the whole thing. Pressure, feel, exhaustion, months of pretending I was fine. It wasn't only those 2 hours either. That whole afternoon felt like my system was emptying itself out. At first, there was still that habit in me that wanted to keep it together. That old voice saying, stay solid. But something else was louder. Relief. A deep relief. Like my body was saying, enough. Let it out. And it did, and I didn't want to fight it. I didn't want to contain it. I wanted it all out. Because for the first time in a long time, the weight wasn't trapped inside me anymore. And right in the middle of that, another thought hit me hard. How did I ever get this far? That question stuck to me. And that moment, that exact moment, is where the total person started to take shape for me. Not as a brand, not as a podcast yet, just a real thing that was happening. It was the first time I saw it clearly. You can look fine on the outside and still be falling apart on the inside. You can be functioning and still be losing yourself. Looking back, that wasn't random. That was burnout at its peak. And it wasn't a dramatic breakdown. It was a long burn that finally ran out of fuel. And the part that still gets to me is this. The signs were there long before. I just didn't listen. So I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to answer it honestly, even if you never say it out loud. What's the first sign for you that you're starting to fade? That you keep brushing it off like it's normal? Because most people don't ignore burnout. They rename it. They call it a moment like it will pass. They call it just being busy. They call it, this is what leadership looks like. They call it being responsible. And here's the danger with renaming things. If you rename a warning light, you can keep driving without feeling worried. And that's how people end up shocked later. Not because it came out of nowhere, but because they trained themselves not to take it seriously. And if you're a leader, there's another layer. People copy you. If you normalize pressure, your team normalizes pressure. If you normalize being emotionally unavailable, your team starts talking less. If you normalize constant urgency, everything starts to feel urgent. So burnout isn't the only personal. It becomes part of the culture. Now I'm going to say something that I think is true, and you'll know it if it lands. Burnout can be more dangerous than a breakdown because it doesn't stop you. Breakdowns force a pause. Burnout keeps you moving while you're hollowed out. And when you hollow out, you don't just lose energy. You lose range. You start leading tighter. You start needing certainty. You start reacting faster. You start hearing everything as a problem, even when people are just being people. And you might not even notice you've changed until someone close to you feels it. So let's bring this to the table. Here's what the round table comes back to. Stop treating burnout like it's a personal flaw. Most of the time, it's a signal. It's the reason we miss it. You can keep functioning while you're fading. So the table doesn't give you a fix, the table gives you a mirror. Because burnout is in one moment, it's a pattern you live long enough that it starts feeling like your personality. You start living like in catch up mode. You start living in improve mode. You start living in survival mode. And after a while, you don't even call it stress. You just call it life. So let the question land. What part of your life is asking for relief? And you keep calling it discipline. What are you still carrying because you're scared of what happens if you set it down? Where did you, where did your why go quiet? And what did you replace it with? Who gets the best of you and who gets whatever's left? Huh. And if you tell the truth, are you tired or are you disappearing? That's what the table comes back to. It's not advice. It's recognition. Now come back out of the round table with me. Notice that what happens when you hear those questions, maybe you feel it in your chest. Maybe you feel resistance. Maybe you feel relief. Whatever it is, don't rush past it because that reaction usually points to the exact place you've been avoiding. And this is where I want to push back on something that gets celebrated. Leadership culture loves sacrifice stories. It loves push through. It loves sleep later. It loves keep going. It loves the leader who never stops. But it rarely talks about the cost of living like that for years. There's a difference between commitment and self abandonment. And a lot of people confuse the two until they don't recognize themselves anymore. So here's a mirror that hits hard, and you'll know if it's for you. What if the thing you're most proud of, your endurance, has also become the thing that's breaking you? And here's one more layer. A lot of leaders don't burn out from work alone. They burn out from the story they run while they work. The story that says you can't slow down. You can't say no. You can't show strain. You can't disappoint people. Those stories create win. And if you don't see the story, you'll keep thinking the problem is only the workload. But if you see the story, you start noticing something uncomfortable. You've been trying to earn rest. And rest doesn't work like that. You don't earn it by suffering enough. You notice it because you're alive. So let's pause. Right now, as you listen, do you feel like you have room inside you? Or do you feel like you've been packed tight for a long time? Because if you feel been packed tight for a long time, you stop noticing it. That becomes your baseline. And that's when burnout gets dangerous. When not okay starts feeling normal. So I'm going to keep this clean. If any of this felt familiar, don't rush past it. Don't explain it away. Don't turn it into something you consume and forget. Just notice what you recognized. Because recognition is the moment you stop drifting. And before we close, let one question follow you out of this episode. If your life stays exactly like this for the next year, what part of you does it cost? If you're carrying that slow drain right now, you don't have to carry it alone. If a line hit you, leave a comment. If you want to message privately, message me. And if you got a story you want to share, burnout, rebuilding, the moment you finally admitted the truth, reach out. You could be a guest here. And your story might be the thing that helps someone else notice their candle before it goes out. Next time we go deeper. Viktor Frankl takes center stage, not as inspiration, but as a real question. What gives you strength to keep going when life doesn't get easier? Don't rename the warning light. Listen early before your body forces a stop. Write your own story. Choose your pace. I'm Chris. This is A Total Person. Talk soon.
Burnout does not hit like lightning. It fades like a candle in the wind. Still lit, still moving, still showing up, but thinner under the skin. From the outside I look steady. Nothing has collapsed yet, but inside I feel less present, and I cannot name when it began. Do not rename the warning light. Do not call it normal life. Slow down, tell the truth. Come back to what you need. I am the total person today.
Where are you functioning but not really there? What is the first sign you keep brushing off? If this stays the same for a year, what will it cost?
Do not rename the warning light. Do not call it normal life. Slow down, tell the truth. Come back to what you need. I am the total person today.
I